man, I scratched the paint. What am I going to do now? Well, you know, that ought to buff out. Okay, here we have the rear mounts. They're both in place and welded up, and the front mounts are in place and welded up. But the car's still on jack stands because the springs that go right here, they're not installed yet. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Now I ran into an issue that you know, maybe I'm just thinking too hard on this. These are the regular springs that came with this thing. These things are massively heavy duty, and it makes sense because the Cougar's a very heavy vehicle. I went and saw a friend of mine named Scott, and Scott gave me these. They're tremendously shorter. I don't know if that's going to work. And the biggest problem is right down here where the bottom of the spring has to go in this pocket. It's just too small around to fit. It does not fit. He did give me some cool brackets. These brackets here, these are designed for a 1933 to 34 Ford to put Mustang 2 suspension on the front. You just weld those to the frame in the right spot, and these springs fit in them, and it'll work. So that's probably going to be another project for another day. So, but I'm going to save these because that works. Now I went over to Al's from my Hillbilly Ways, and you can see the springs I got from him. See these ones right here? They're the same height, but look how much lighter they are. Now this car is not heavy. Now obviously I still need to build the body and put on here, but I'm thinking that these springs would make it ride like I had no springs, and these might be just right. And the cool thing is, one end is the same size as this spring. See, they're the same size, and it fits right down in the pocket. So with it fitting in the pocket, now I can build a spring perch that comes off the side of the frame onto the spring. Now, I don't know how much the weight of the car is going to compress these springs. I'm going to guess a couple inches, which is fine because this is right even with the top of the frame, because this is where I want the frame to sit. That's where I want it to sit when it's running and driving. And so if I pick the frame up and set the, come right off the bottom of the frame with a platform and then gusset it up to the side of the frame, I should have the spring perch that I need. So that's what we're going to try to do today. But the first thing we need to do is figure out suspension travel. Now I looked it up, trying to figure out what the best suspension travel was. And let me tell you what, when you look something like that up on the internet, everybody and their sister has an opinion. I found everything from 2 inches of suspension travel all the way up to 14 inches. So apparently it doesn't matter, but it matters to me. So what I've settled on is my goal is 6 inches. That will have center where I want the car, which is right where it's at now. And I want it to be able to go up 3 inches and down 3 inches. And that should handle pretty much everything I'm going to do, because I'm not taking this off-road. It's a street car. I don't plan on racing it or anything like that. So I'm going to go for 6. So let's see what we can accomplish. Okay, so right now I have it sitting right on where I want it to ride. And, the frame is level, the engine's level, everything's level. So this is premium. So let's measure that. I'm going to measure from the floor to the top of this cross member, which is 25¼ inches. So let's see how far up it can go, and we'll pick it up until the wheels come off of these dollies they're sitting on. This is potential travel. This isn't what I'm going to actually use. My goodness, that is some serious rake right there. Okay, there we are. We're just now starting to come off. That's maximum up. This is 31 inches. Wow, that is a lot. Let's see how low it'll go. Let's lower it all the way down and see where it stops. Holy cow, I think it'll go farther, and it ran into the lift. Okay, I moved the lift to the back here. Let's see how far down this can go. Holy cow. Okay, there we are. resting on the ground basically. This would actually be sitting on the ground, because right now I'm on these dollies and this is almost touching the floor. So that's 18 1/4. So let's write that down, 18 1/4. Boy, look how these wheels cambered in, something fierce. And you can see right down here, the half shafts are still have clearance, but boy, these shocks are compromised. Wow, this is obviously way too low. But boy, I tell you what, if you wanted to bag a car, this is your suspension, man. You got some serious travel on this thing. But I would never run it this low. I mean, I might set it on the ground if I had airbags and wanted to, you know, just set it down. But wow, you could do some stuff with this rear end. Well, let's crank it back up to the middle and see what we can figure out here. How much travel is that? 31 minus 18? I'm not very good at math, but that seems like a lot. It's 13 inches of travel? Wow, that's a lot of travel. Well, we're not gonna do 13 inches. We're gonna do 6. Let's bring it back up to reality. There we go. That's where I want it to ride. So I'm gonna give it. I can have 12 inches of travel, no problem. But I'm not sure I want 12 inches of travel. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what it takes here. As part of this process, we need to hook the shock here up. And I have to make sure that it doesn't hit anything as it compresses. Now, as this wheel comes up, this side of the shock here is going to get closer to the frame rail. So I got to have a little gap over here. And I also don't want it to hit the lower control arm. So I'm going to put a little bit of a tweak and get it right in the sweet spot. I am going to measure in a very technical fashion the bracket that I need for the shock and where I want the hole. I want the hole to be right about here. So we're going to go cut this and then fit it in place, hopefully. Well, I want to welcome everyone back, you know, and if you haven't been here before, well, join the fun, man. We're having a good time building this car, a boat tail Speedster, building it from scratch, basically. I've got a whole bunch of parts from a whole bunch of different cars. We're having fun with it and figuring it out as we go. Yeah, no real lessons on how to do it, but you know what? If you learn something, you learn something. That's not my fault. You know, you take that responsibility on yourself. But anyway, like and subscribe if you like it. You know, if you don't, well, you know what to do. And, you know, I appreciate it because it helps the channel grow, helps the car get built faster, and gives me more time to work on it. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the film. Nope, I don't like where that's at. I don't like the angle, it's got to be square. So I'm going to cut that off. That looks square. in place. I've got the width of my thumb between the shock and the frame. Let's see what happens when I let it down. Not really. No, it's touching. So that's not going to work. It's got to move over. So I got to cut that out of there and move it over a little bit further. But I can do that. Well, I know I was planning on doing a lot more and getting these spring perches and everything in here, gussets built and whatnot, but man, I'm just running out of time today. So you know what? Next time.